People haven't realized the importance of the skin as a vital organ.
Why does the skin age?
We were doing research on skin aging and understanding what's driving the aging process and what's missing on the skincare routine that other products does not have that will help to improve the quality and the health of your skin. And that's how we found our...
Alessandra, why is skin health important to overall health in the human body?
People haven't realized the importance of the skin as a vital organ. So the skin is this organ that's protecting our inner body of all the external stressors. So if you think like that, there is an important function in the maintenance of your overall health, because it's avoiding that pathogens and more inflammation is getting harming your inner body. So the importance of the skin is really to be this strong and resilient organ that is helping protect your inner body. And it's not only just like the window, the frame of how do you look, but it's actually a reflection of how you're working inside, and is important for keeping the inside of the body functioning well. So it's regulating our temperature, it's regulating the homeostasis, the water amount that you carry inside your body. So there's a lot of functions related to the skin that it's beyond the beauty aesthetic. Mostly thought like when you think about skin, you're just like thinking about the appearance of this tissue, but it's actually important and vital as other organs is for you as well.
And you're like a real scientist. You got a PhD in stem cells and skin regeneration, and you've been in this field since ever, I'd imagine. This is like your original thing.
Yeah, I mean, I went from college to academia studying. I did my master, PhD, 3 years of postdoc, and then started OneSkin. So my whole life, what I have done, it's being mostly in the lab, doing research and being a scientist and understanding the mechanism, at the cellular level of what things is happening, why they're happening, and how we can intervene.
Why does one become so obsessed with skin at a young age? I feel like skin is something that people get more enamored by in like their 30s or 40s. Why would a young gal be so interested in this and to follow the path?
Yeah, I mean, I started being interested in skin when I was finishing my master and starting my PhD. I was 21 years old at the time. And what got my interest on researching skin was not yet on skin aging. I was not thinking I would be studying skin aging, but was the aspect of seeing that related to burn or chronic wounds, people can suffer a lot with wound healing. And there was no effective way to prevent and to promote skin regeneration without scar tissue formation. So what I was interested was on the regenerative side of the skin, with the purpose of preventing, like sometimes you can have like a death coming from a big wound burn, because if you expose a large part of your skin, you lose so much water and you are so susceptible to pathogens that you can even lose your life because of a wound in your skin. So I was already studying stem cell and tissue engineering, and I visited a bank of a cadaveric skin for the purpose of wound healing from burns. And I got interested. I thought there should be a better way that does not induce reaction to that skin that's coming to promote the wound healing. And I came back to my supervisor. I said that I wanted to research skin on my PhD. And that's how I got interested in this area. And it took, so I did my PhD and 3 years of postdoc studying more than wound healing until I moved to San Francisco and joined my co-founders and start to look to skin on the lens of the aging process of the skin and maintain, instead of fixing the skin, maintaining the skin health throughout the process of aging.
What is a stretch mark? And what can we do about stretch marks?
Stretch mark is very challenging because you got one of the most difficult ones because there is on the extras there is like collagen changes on the skin that's being secreted when you have get a stretch mark, and it's a whole remodeling phase on a stretch mark that has different causes. Usually, is related with stretching too much your skin when you're gaining or losing weight and things related to that. But it's a process that's challenging to, I'm yet to see something that really get rid of stretch marks, especially when they are completely formed.
Have you explored anything in the realm of radio frequency? I know that it's popular with estheticians and people that do. I actually have used radio frequency for injury repair or injury healing. And one of the things that I learned you can do with that is it does something with fat. It like mobilizes fat, or like it can, if you do too much radio frequency, particularly around the face, you can like remove fat around the face, and it can actually end up being problematic. But you can, I've heard that you can use that to actually like site specifically remove fat from different places in the body. Are you familiar with radio frequency at all, or any of like those practices?
I mean, radio frequency and all of these are wavelengths that can like give some signaling communication to the cells, and they can go deeper below the surface of the skin. And depending on the frequency and how it's applied, it can go more deep to dermal layers or to fat tissue. It's a whole a different mechanism, to be honest, related to the fat loss in the face, in the fat tissue in the face. I'm not super familiar with this kind of treatment, but it's used similar to other like red light therapies and other things as well. There are wavelengths that can communicate, give signaling to your cells to communicate with it.
If you were explaining to I guess maybe different grades, if you're explaining to like a sixth grader what is a skin, how would you explain to a sixth grader? And then if you're explaining to a PhD student what is the skin, what would be the two explanations? Like what's the composition of skin, collagen, elastin? Some people have stretchier skin, some people have tighter skin. Like what's the actual composition? Like what is skin for both a sixth grader explanation and then also a PhD student explanation?
Okay, so for a sixth grader, I would say the skin is this organ that's protecting your inner body. So it's formed by two layers. The most outside layer is the layer that you see. You can see your skin, and it's mainly formed about almost a concrete that it will avoid things to get inside on your skin. And then under this concrete layer, you have something that is more as a gelatin, more malleable, that will give like the structure and the firmness of your skin. So this is the dermis, on top is the epidermis, and these two layers together, they help like to shape your body to be this flexible tissue that can shape your body, and that has this protective layer on top to avoid water loss, to avoid that something from outside get inside of your body, but also things from inside easily get outside your body. I don't know if it's a good explanation. I should try it. Great.
And dorkier, if you want to get a little bit more myopic, like composition of skin, relevance of the different dermal layers, like how would that relate to a person in real life? Like how could we add value to a person's life by understanding in a little bit like nerdier fashion?
Yeah, so basically the skin is this tissue formed by two layers. The upper layer is formed by keratinocytes that produce keratin, and this skin barrier that again is the part of your skin that's protecting you from losing water temperature and protecting from pathogens and pollutions and toxins to get on your skin. This is formed by a cell type called keratinocytes, the majority of the cells in this epidermis layer of the skin. Under that, we have connective tissue formed mainly by fibroblasts that produce collagen and give the firmness and the structure for the skin. and also regulates is the vascularized tissue on your skin that regulates the epidermis formation. When you're getting older and you start losing the connective tissue on your dermal layer, especially the collagen production, is where the skin starts to become more saggy. And you start losing volume on the skin, and you start losing the tightening of the skin. And also the communication of this dermal and epidermis layer influences on how this epidermis is forming to get that barrier. So it's a tissue that's communicating these two layers to provide both the regulation of the inside of the body, but also this protective layer against what is outside the inner body.
Why does the skin age, and what is aging?
Why the skin ages, why the whole body ages as well. It's all like the mechanism that why skin is aging is the same that why our brain is aging and all our organs is aging. And mainly it's because over time, our cells, they start to accumulate damage. They start getting older, and they stop dividing at certain time because of accumulation of damage. And when they stop dividing, some of them can start secreting inflammation and avoid the death, the normal cycle of death of that cell to be renewed by a new one. And when we're getting older, what happens is because these cells that has damage and start secreting inflammation on your tissue starts to accumulate. This starts to build dysfunction in the tissue because the tissue is now on an unhealthy environment. And on the skin specifically, this will lead to more collagen breakdown and a more fragile skin barrier being formed. So the reason why we are aging is because we're accumulating damage in our cells. And the reason that why this changes the structure, the function of the tissue is because cells that accumulate damage and stop dividing, they secrete inflammation, and they start deteriorating the environment of a healthy state to an unhealthy and unbalanced, and you start having the consequences. And then the skin ends up with these visible signs of aging. That is an uneven skin tone, is a saggy skin, the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, a lot of times a skin that's thinner with time, that gets more susceptible to itching, to irritation, and it's more fragile as well.
What could you tell about a person's internal health via the external quality of their skin?
Yeah, so a lot of times when the skin has a lot of inflammation, this can be a lot of redness or patches of redness and itchiness. This can be related to something that's not well regulated, either on your gut microbiome or related to things that you're eating. Stress levels can influence that as well. So there are hormonal changes that can also lead to breakout and formation of acne on the skin. So a lot of times when you see a skin that has more of inflammation, redness, sometimes acne associated, can be associated not only with what's happening on your skin, but also what's happening somehow in your inner body. And on the other side also there's a correlation, because if you have, so it goes both ways. If you have a skin that's getting thinner over time and that is more itchy and has more redness, this is also contributing to more inflammation to get inside your body, which can reflect on the increase of inflammation over the period that you're getting older. And there is more association now, studies showing that when you have disorders on your skin, you are more susceptible to diseases, cardiovascular diseases, or other chronic diseases in other organs as well.
What are some of I appreciate you allowing me to just be giving you like all this like shotgun of questions, because I find all this stuff endlessly interesting, and I really enjoy the opportunity to just be like a little kid and just like ask the adult question. So thank you very much. It's very kind. What are some of the environmental factors that would be the most generative to our skin that we might not necessarily think about?
Yeah. The number one that everyone even can associate easier is UV exposure. This is an external factor that if you expose your skin to high amounts of UV unprotected, you can burn your skin, you can cause damage to your skin, and it's the number one cause of acceleration on the skin aging process. But also pollution can lead to damage on your skin. Other toxins related to things that you may be applying on your skin can lead to damage on your skin. So basically, I would say the number one will be pollution, and also being careful on what you're applying topically on your skin as well.
What about diet? I feel like that's like for me, I'm like a crazy hippie. So I kind of have the perspective that I can eat my sunblock. And so I'm under the illusion that I can eat, lots of healthy, fatty foods and be able to provide myself enough cellular health from diet that I'll have greater UV protection and that I can actually be in relationship with the sun where the sun actually is health inducing for my skin compared to being in a place where that extra oxidative stress becomes degenerative because I'm already like exhausted as a system. What do you think about that? I don't think I'm speaking exactly perfectly correctly in like a PhD level, but what are some dietary factors involved in skin health?
It's very you're correlating this super well because we are what we eat in a lot of terms, and the diet is one of the number one things that we need to be aware if we want to have a good health. And if we have a good health, we are also somehow associating with a good skin health as well. So one of the number one things related to diet and skin is the amount of sugar. So sugar can be can compromise skin health because excess of glucose can bind to proteins in our body, and then this can leads to dysfunction in the tissue, especially on the skin, and more inflammation and aging signs later on. I would say the number one villain, it would be excess of sugar, processed food. And related to what you're saying about using food to help protect you from UV, this is something that, yes, when you're adding to your diet more antioxidants and more nutrition, you will nourish your body and your tissue to be more resistant to UV damage. But we need to be very careful with this relation with the sun, because it will vary depending on your skin type, depending on different person, and where you are having this sun exposure. So, I mean, if a person that's extremely pale goes to Costa Rica, for instance, and in the peak of the summer, even though they're having a very healthy diet, they go and expose themselves to the sun without any other protection from noon to 3 p.m., they will not have any of the benefits that sun can bring to you. They will burn their skin, and that's what we want to avoid. We want to avoid the skin burn. Having the contact with the sun can be amazing, and it does drive healthy things to your skin, but we always need to be cautious about the time, the amount of sun exposure, and how our diet, how everything surrounding us and the environment are for that relation with the sun be positive and not negative.
Yeah, for sure. So I, again, new age tinfoil hat hippie guy, suspicious of sunblock and things that I like. Big fan of zinc oxide, big fan of natural organic versions of sunblock, big fan of just wearing a sun hat or feeling intuitively, it feels like I've had enough sun. We get all of those indicators and cues internally. Okay, I'm feeling hot. I'm feeling flush. I'm feeling almost hurts to have sun. That's probably too much sun at that point. Um, is there what would be your suggestion as far as sunblocks go? I know, so I'm actually genuinely a big fan of your company. This is the OneSkin's the first skin product that I've really experimented with in like full disclosure. And I have been a little bit, I'm like, it's fine. I'll just rub a little coconut oil in there. It's like we're all good. I've actually genuinely noticed a significant difference in the quality of my skin upon using OneSkin, which is cool. So well done, whatever you guys doing over there. You guys also have a sunblock as well. What do you put in there, and what are your thoughts on things like zinc oxide compared to, I don't know, like a banana, whatever some of the BS sunblocks are?
Yeah. So first of all, I love to hear that you finally found like a skincare routine that fits you and you're seeing benefits. It.
Cool. I'm 37 years old, Alessandra. It's time. Time has
Ah, we're
come.
same age then. Yeah. So it's time. Like it's unfair that men starts to experience signs of aging later than women. So you guys also like start to being more conscious about skin like later than women are in other reasons. Uh, but we invested like 5 years before we created our brand and brought our product to the market. We were doing research on skin aging and understanding what's driving the aging process and what's missing on the skincare routine that other products does not have that will help to improve the quality and the health of your skin. And that's how we found our proprietary peptide, the OS1 peptide, that's targeting those damaged cells that accumulate on the skin. And then this line, we created a line of products that moisturize your skin, but also SPF, and we chose the zinc oxide to give the protection against the UV, different from other chemical SPFs that can also give protection. The zinc oxide is creating a barrier that it's reflecting most of the UV radiation and is known to be very safe. Chemical sunscreen, they have some bad reputation, meaning that there are some studies that show that they can be toxic. But it's important to highlight that those studies, they were done when people were applying a huge amount of these sunscreens on their skin, and it's usually way more than a person would apply when they are going outdoors and to expose to the sun. We chose to go with zinc oxide because still is the most safe and has other benefits like in reducing inflammation as well. And in our SPFs, we powered like we not only have the SPF, but we also have our proprietary peptide, which helps to with any damage that's already like accumulated on your skin, but also like when you're exposing yourself to UV, it's helping protecting damage. And there is also a huge blend of antioxidants. So it's a very powerful, like a 3-in-1 product that can confer like the protection against UV, antioxidant, and also this damage repair coming from our peptide.
Yeah, I feel like there's probably a lot of confusion, like a lot of things that ends up being blanket statements for, research that's been conducted with one demographic of, race and sex and age of people, and then there becomes a blanket statement across all demographics of people. And it seems to me, and based off what you're saying as well, the composition of the skin and the melanin and like your origin and such would have a significant effect on your dosage of sun, which is why I'm incredibly leery of the concept of just like beware of UV. I feel intuitively that probably much of the dis-ease that we experience is like a fear of the sun, and this blanket statement, it's just like anybody out there, just like beware, the sun's going to take you out. How significant of a difference is sun exposure to a person from, say African descent to a person from like Norway or something of the sort? And is there any way to be able to like, so for me, again, it comes back to kind of intuition and like feel. It's like I feel like when I've got enough sun, because I don't know exactly what this data or research, who this was done on. It wasn't done on my skin and my specific origin. And so how much can we trust our intuition in our relationship to the sun compared to trusting, the data or the science that seems to be ever changing?
Everything that you said, like makes a lot of sense if you think that, okay, evolutionary, like the amount of melanin that we were accumulating on the skin was very related to the area in the globe that we were. Like, so in Africa, there is more melanin production on the skin because the sun exposure that is higher compared to Norway, where there is less, and people that originally are from there has less melanin on their skin. So this, I think it's a lot of like you understanding your body a lot. So to start with, like early days, early mornings and evenings is where the UV is less harmful to your skin. So it's usually where you can start like building a relationship with the sunlight, meaning you're getting the best of the exposure without getting risk of causing the damage. And usually the damage is a little bit, it will vary person by person. And even myself, it varies if I'm here in California or if I'm in Brazil, because the amount of UV radiation in these two places is different. So it's a lot related to, if you start feeling that's burning or redness is appearing, that's a cut out, like get out of the sun immediately, because now you're starting to damage your skin. If you know that you're going to be outdoors for long periods of time, is where like, wear like a sunblock, protect, use a hat, because depending on the time of the day, 2-3 hours outdoor will definitely can be harmful to you, and that will vary on the amount of how much melanin you have in your skin, how much you can. But I say like your judgment is the first way of doing, and definitely when you start feeling any type of burn is when you should avoid the UV exposure and protect yourself more. But I agree on having a good relationship with the sun exposure, and that there are benefits to sun exposure as well.
Could sun exposure make your skin, for lack of better words, like stronger? Like, could one develop like a skin callus of sorts, or a sun callus of sorts, where you're actually changing the composition of the skin to have a more robust response to sun, compared to someone that kind of stays in almost like a infantile epidermal state where it's like, oh my God, like Eddie said, because you just don't go outside enough. So your body's not prepared for outside anymore.
So when you expose your skin to the sun, it induces melanin production. So if you're in a long winter in Norway, barely seeing the sun, your skin is not being stimulated to produce melanin, meaning that immediately when winter is gone, your skin is very fragile and very sensitive to the sun exposure, and would burn easily and faster. With time, and if you live in places that you have more sun exposure, your skin, because it's being exposed more, produce more of the melanin. And when you have more melanin on your skin, you can build kind of what you're saying, this callus is like this resistance to not burn in the first 5 minutes that you are exposing yourself to the sun. You can handle 30 minutes of exposure without feeling this burning sensation. And this is all related to the amount of melanin production, and it's stimulated by sun exposure. So there is a correlation that if you expose daily your skin to a certain amount of sun and induce this melanin production, you can be more resistant, and you can be protecting your skin from more sun exposure. But this is also very individual. Some people on their genetics, they do not produce enough melanin, even if they try to. Their skin does not have that functionality of producing melanin as much as other skin types. And then the sun gets more dangerous and harder to get to a point of this good correlation with. So it's very individual as well. And you need to learn to understand your body and your limitations and the differences between different skin tones.
And so starting from the inside out approach on healthy skin, you mentioned excess glucose or sugar. Is all sugar created equal from your perspective, or would there be some sugars that would have more of a deleterious effect than other sugars?
Yeah, so mainly like fructose. The corn syrup, for instance, is very highly in fructose. That's worse to your body than other types of sugar. I would say processed in general, when you have foods that is full of added sugar, processed sugar, they are the ones that you should avoid more compared to natural sugar that you're ingesting from some food that are naturally sweet, but also are containing other things that are benefit to your health. While when you eat sometimes a cookie or something, it's pure sugar and you're not giving anything else to your body. So that's the ones that you should avoid.
And would there be particular processed foods or other ingredients that would have a inflammatory response? And also, what is inflammation in the skin? And at what point do we breach the gap where, oh, this is like bad inflammation, or enter into a realm of like chronic inflammation compared to acute inflammation? Because the body going through a healthy process and cycle of acute inflammation to heal is really brilliant and important. And I think that we can like villainize the concept of inflammation, like, okay, inflammation bad.
Yeah, it needs to be transient. So the problem of inflammation is when it becomes chronic in a level that it's always there, and then it's not doing the benefits of the inflammation. So when you get a cut, your skin, the first thing, it starts to secrete inflammatory cytokines, inflammation, so can tell the cells from your body that will respond to that cut and like eliminate any bacteria that's getting inside your skin because of that cut, and will also start the wound healing process. That inflammation is good. So you will experience some redness and see that that cut is a little bit inflamed on day 1, day 2, but that will go away. Chronic inflammation is when you have mainly like some of them. The problem is that the chronic inflammation that associates with aging, it's silo, it's not so visual. I cannot look at you and say, oh, you have chronic inflammation right now in your body. It's harder like to say like that, but on the skin can be reflected with constant redness or itching parts on your skin that can be related with some inflammation that could be coming from outside or from inside your body.
And then getting into topical realms, something that I have on my shoulder, I have a keloid scar from a bike accident from, I don't know, 15 years ago or something like that. What are some things that a person can do to remediate a old pesky scar? And what is a keloid scar? Because I think that's kind of a mysterious thing for a lot of people as well. And what is a scar in general? What is a healthy scar? What is a keloid scar? And how can we remediate both?
So when we have the wound healing, the last part of the wound healing process is the production of novel collagen to rebuild that skin. It's a remodeling phase of the wound healing that needs to be well programmed in terms of the amount of collagen and the type of collagen that is being produced and eliminated to get like the perfect skin back. Unfortunately, this process can be dysregulated a lot of times depending on the size of the wound, so it gets harder, the modulation there. And it's interesting because you also have the accumulation of the same cells that accumulate with aging. They can be accumulated on this scar formation that's more of senescent cells that release some inflammation. So the scar tissue has some inflammation being produced there and different content of collagen. So it's interesting because our molecule was designed for those damaged cells with aging to avoid accumulation. It was not specifically designed for any like scar tissue that's already formed. But we do see some people relating that when they use our product on a scar, it sees some improvement because mainly it's like reducing some of those senescent cells that's probably on that tissue. One way of like trying to remove, so it's kind to reverse, it's hard to reverse the scar after the tissue is already formed there. As I said, because it's in the end process of the wound healing, sometimes some therapies that induce the regeneration again, kind of like restarted the process, like some type of either microneedling or something that will engage on the wound healing process again, can help on the scar formation. Other times it's just trying to cut out that scar and like connect the skin again, and this time take care more of the wound healing process. It's not an easy to reverse after you have that scar tissue formed.
And what is the OS1 peptide and how is that relevant to our skin?
So the OS1 peptide is a novel molecule that we discovered on our research that's specifically targeting the inflammation secreted by aging cells, these damaged cells, also known scientifically as senescent cells and sometimes called zombie cells. In general, it's any cell that has a dysfunction and it secretes inflammation and it's like accumulating with aging. So the OS1 peptide, specifically designed to reduce the inflammation secreted by those cells. And as a consequence, it creates a better environment for a healthy skin to be in. So it allows for a better, more collagen production. It allows also a strong skin barrier function. And what is interesting, when we measure in the lab the biological age, the age that's determined by the DNA of the cell, the skin, we see that becomes younger. It's reversed after treating with this novel peptide. So it's a peptide that helps, I like to say, it helps to boost the healthy state of the skin, avoiding like the process of aging and the accumulation of damage that leads to more signs of aging and to a more detrimental skin.
And is it activating a certain system in the body? My understanding of peptides is it's like a chain of amino acids that is like a key to locks within your body to cause your body to catalyze certain responses. Is it catalyzing a certain specific response that would be happening endogenously?
Yeah, so the peptide, when inside the cell, it upregulates pathways related to DNA repair in order to avoid the damage to be accumulated in that cell. And also it's targeting like the pathways that are making that cell to secrete cytokines and inflammation. So as you said, well, a lot of peptides, they can have, because they are these biological molecules, they can communicate with the cells, giving a signaling message to do something. In this case, it's improve, repair, and reduce inflammation.
What would be the practices or supplements or nutrition or other stimuli that could also cause those pathways to come online outside of using a peptide?
In terms of the diet, as we said, a very balanced and diet that fills your body with nutrition, with the good things, with antioxidants, with also fibers, with vitamins. This is important. Sleep, controlling the sleep is something that really when we're sleeping and we have good quality of sleep is when our body is resetting and reducing toxins and is helping like to regulate and improve those defense pathways to create more resilience to our body. So Sleep is one of the, for me, number one things that are important to maintain our health and its overall and skin health as well. So it's all correlated. Moderate or like healthy ways of getting sun exposure and not having excess of sun exposure is also something that's benefiting and can help activating good pathways on your body.
What about cellulite?
Yeah, cellulite is not related with the structure of the skin, the derms and epidermis. It's more related to the fat tissue that's under the skin. It's a different mechanism that leads to cellulite, but it's more related to the accumulation of fat and sometimes inflammatory fat that leads to the skin to being bulky.
Why does cellulite arise, and what are solutions for cellulite for a person?
I think diet is the best solution for cellulite because it's very related also with the accumulation of fat tissue. And it varies a lot genetically depending on the person. Some people accumulate more fat in different areas of their body, and some people are more prone to accumulate cellulite, meaning more inflammation on that fat tissue. And the way of that tissue being formed create like some kind of nodules that gives that cellulite shape. But it's for me mainly related with the diet and accumulation of fat.
Are there skin issues that you've personally dealt with throughout your life that you've been able to solve?
So I have a very like sensitive skin, and when I was with a little bit of like rosacea, irritation, so would irritate very easily. And before nowadays, and feels biased to say that because I did the research, I kind of like was part of the team that invented, that found this peptide and created all the products. But my skin before our products, it was so like inflamed, reactive to anything that I would apply on would immediately get red. And now the main thing that I feel that the OS1 helped on my skin is creating this resilience, like it's stronger. So now my skin is not more as sensitive as was before. But I have some pictures from 5 years ago, and looking to now, my skin is so much better. Before, I would get like red flushes, like redness on my skin, and would be feeling that it's burning just in from no reason. It's just because the skin was so fragile, it losing so much water that you start to become reactive and feel like that redness and irritation. So I suffered a lot with that, and I tried other products that was not working. I think that also motivated me during the research when we were like trying to find something to address skin aging problems, because at the time that I was doing the research was a time that, I mean, I would wake up and I go to the gym in the morning. I needed to put foundation on my face because I didn't want to get outside of my house without any foundation on the face because it was so red and irritated in different areas of the skin. And now I'm so more comfortable on being on my own skin.
Is there any research around the impact of women in particular kind of semi-perpetually putting foundation and different types of products on their skin affecting their skin health? I would imagine wearing a like chemical mask over your skin most of your life would probably affect things.
I mean, especially when so when I was saying my skin was so fragile and then I was adding chemicals on top, it's not helping the skin. It's just like sometimes you end up just trying to make up your skin and you're not doing any help to your skin because your skin is fragile. You're applying more chemicals, and a lot of times like depending on the type of the makeup, can be accelerating more harm than not. I don't have top of my head like a study that was really like a design and correlating the use of makeup specifically with the skin. But definitely there's a correlation there that if your skin is already more fragile and you're adding more chemicals, you will not be helping your skin to improve and get out of that path.
Yeah, it seems it seems like, I mean, I feel like probably exposure to, the elements and sunlight and such. Like we've been doing that for a long time. And as of recent, suddenly there's, I don't know how long women have been wearing makeup exactly, but suddenly placing a mask over our skin, most days, it seems suspicious.
Yeah, and that's why also it's always recommended at the end of the day to you to wash out and remove your makeup, so at least your skin has the time that you're sleeping to breathe and to avoid some of those chemicals. Yeah.
So we talked about internal remedies, talked about external. I'd like to talk about external more, but first I'm going to talk about manual solutions or ways to be supportive to the skin. What are your thoughts on gua sha or I don't know, like the kneading of the skin or pulling or lifting or any like manual approaches to support skin health?
Our skin has attached under the skin muscles that all of this kind of like yoga massage on your skin, they help both. They help stimulating like blood flow sometimes because you are like stretching the skin and that brings some blood flow to your skin, which is always beneficial because will help like eliminating toxins and will bring the nutrients to your skin. At the same time, when you're for me, it's kind of like it's two mentalities. Should you freeze your muscles to avoid the appearance of wrinkles with Botox, or should you increase the strength of your muscles to be supporting the skin that's on top? So these are two different approaches. I tend to like more the natural ones. Not saying that is there anything wrong with the other one, but all this, anything that exercise that you're doing and the way that they will help improve. It's not that they are the only thing that will create skin health, but they can be beneficial as well.
What is a wrinkle? You mentioned it previously. And what is a wrinkle in the skin?
Yeah, wrinkle is when your skin usually it's also associated with the muscle movement. So the skin starts like when you're smiling, so it kind of like stretches a little bit. And with the loss of collagen over time, you start to have like some deepening of the skin and start appearing as lines on your skin. That these are the fine lines that as they progress they become a wrinkle. So it's associated with the two things, like the loss of collagen on your skin, but also a lot on the muscle side as well, and the movements that you're doing that can be helping to form that friction on the skin, which kind of leads to the formation of a line.
So a person that suffers from chronic resting bitch face would also be aging themselves quicker as well?
They are visually promoting more the signs of aging. So it's both things, but a lot of times it's also when those wrinkles are being formed. It's also a visual sign from the movement that is not 100% just saying that the skin is older there.
And so with the OS1 peptide, that is so I've been using the prep where I put the prep stuff on. Why is the prep lotion, I guess you could call it, what's in there, and why does it make my skin feel like a smooth baby seal afterwards? Like it has like a pretty interesting effect where it's like, I'm not wearing makeup or oils or anything, and suddenly like my skin actually feels significantly like cleaner afterwards. Like what are you guys doing in that?
So the prep is the only product that does not contain our peptide. It's a gentle cleanser that was designed to remove all the impurities and dead cells and pollutions from the top of your skin without being irritating. So when you remove all of the top layers of your skin that you feel this smoothness of your skin. So you are removing dead cells, you are removing pollution or makeup, and that's why you have this feeling of the skin being smoother. And when you remove like this top layers and top bad things on top of your skin, you just allow more of the product to also be absorbed by the skin. So you benefit of like having more absorption of the OS1 peptide when you have a cleaner skin.
So is it exfoliating the skin? And what is exfoliation?
Yeah, the exfoliation is a ways of removing the small things, small molecules, dead cells that are layering on top of your skin. And this helps better absorption of other products, but also smooth your skin and get that feeling. And the way we designed it, our prep was also to not exfoliate to a level that's not irritating your skin, because if you peel out or exfoliate too much your skin, it can have like a side effect of being irritating.
And then following that, I put on the OS1 peptide face stuff. And again, like I've noticed like I don't know what I call it, like a tightening. I don't know, just my skin just feels better, like it looks better. And is that the peptide mainly that's doing that? And is there other stuff that's in there?
It's mainly the peptide that is allowing for more collagen production. That's why you feel the tightening as well. And also there are a combination of other ingredients in that formula, some other oils that are anti-inflammatory, that are also antioxidant, that everything together, it's improving the skin health and the smoothness. And that's why you're having this first feelings of a better skin. But I would say the best benefit of our product is even on the long run, that you will see that your skin will maintain this healthy state for longer. So if you think that in 5 years from now, you kind of be looking younger than you are now. At least is how I feel like after 4 years of using the product.
Well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you unpacking all the different kind of misunderstandings and such around skin health. I think it's something I've been really curious to learn more about. So I really appreciate you taking the time to share. So if people would like to go deeper into your work and research and or check out OneSkin or any of that stuff, what's a good place to go from here for folks?
Yeah. Our website, oneskin.co.co, it's the best place to find all the research that we have done. So you can see all the scientific publications that we have done throughout these years related to this peptide and to skin aging. Also, there is a reference lab. We call it the reference lab, but it's a blog where we talk a lot in our blog about skin longevity, but overall longevity as well, the connection, some of the things that we talk about, like diet, sleep, mental health, and the correlation with skin. You can find a lot of resources on our blog. And if you sign to our newsletter, we are always like sharing new results that we're getting in the lab, new research that's interesting in the field. So our website is the best place to go, but we also have a presence on social media. So oneskin.co again, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, all the social media platforms.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And thank you all for tuning in. That's it. That's all. See you next week.